good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good vibes, good energy, good people. It's your boy Mickey Fenty, aka Mickey Made It. If you're new to this channel, you know what to do to this channel. Subscribe right now. Also, if you guys want to support my brand, it's inspiredbydreams.shop. And we got a lot of new drops in there for you to get your fly dressing on and, dress original outside of the box. Okay, today's conversation, this is important. I want you guys to listen up. Like Oxen Belly said, remember you owe me a big one for this. Okay, today we're talking about protection of black culture. Now, how we got to this conversation, I wanted to break something down before we get into it. See, the thing is, people have been stealing from black culture so long that we lost the value within ourselves. So we tend to, you see a lot of people in our culture, stealing from each other, and it's like a dog-eat-dog fight because it's not that we don't value other places, but we don't value ourselves. So that's why you'll see a lot of, people are stealing from other black folks, trying to it's a crab in the barrel mentality. In this conversation, it breaks down all different aspects of how we got to this point, why do we treat each other like this, and why, when other cultures steal from us, they feel it's just a thing to do because they started to realize that we don't see the value within ourselves. And like I always tell you, this will have you guys will have a better understanding when I say this, there's levels to everything. So for example, let's just say that somebody says, I want to start a clothing line, and they're coming from an aggressive neighborhood, and it's no money being made where they're at, and they have no other opportunities. There is a cutoff limit. So let's just say they make $40,000 a year making clothes. Now, somebody coming from the suburbs, that $40,000 making a year is not enough because they're starting with more, and they have more information being fed to them. The person that's first coming up is always going to feel like, no, it's making money. This is how it's supposed to go, until they are comfortable at that point to understand that there is a cutoff point. So there's different levels to people's education and different levels to making money as far as your culture, from other cultures. It's a different level to everything we do. I wanted to bring you guys all into this conversation so you can have some kind of understanding. The only way that we are going to get better as a whole is if we work with us. Now, for the people that think that, when you see other people stealing from inside the culture from their own people, that should not give you the type of energy where you want to run and hide or stop creating or stop wanting to do what you do. That shows you the temperature. So now you can evaluate from that. You can understand there's certain things that you can do and certain things you can't do. It doesn't deter you from what your dream is, because usually 9 out of 10 times, the person that just did that, or however you feel they took whatever you had, yes, it's going to go to a certain point until it levels off and they realize that there's nowhere else to go, because as a whole, we don't have the value in ourselves. And it's sad, but it's also a reality to know that sometimes in our culture, being hurt so much that people see the destruction within our culture, and that is fulfilling to them than even wanting to push themselves forward or even try, because they know already that even if that person does steal from somebody in our culture, they will still meet their demise at a certain cutoff point. It's something that you have to get educated on, understanding that we could make ourselves grow, but nobody else is going to put in a seed to help us grow. Once you get that type of mentality, you start understanding that your wisdom is beginning to get sharper, the way you look at things, the way you deal in certain situations, and the outlooks will be definitely different. I'm understanding now. I had to put on your lens to understand the difference between what I'm seeing and what you're seeing. And I realized that everybody starts on different levels, and somebody saying, they're successful at a certain level might not be the same level as somebody can be starting at that point and feeling like that's not successful. So you guys pay attention to this conversation. Leave your comments down below. Tell me how you feel, how you honestly feel about it. And thanks for watching, and welcome to Mickey Made It. It's a big journey we all are going to take this to to the top, all right? And we're going to open this up here, and we're going to open this here. Let's get it.
Mickey made it. Mickey made what you made, Mickey?
Mickey made it. Salute, salute, Mickey.
Brothers and sisters.
Grand rising to you.
Mickey made it. What's up, man? Salute.
Black men are the white people of black people. We are the entitled, largely uneducated, flamboyantly problematic group that offers that everyone else is the problem but us. We think that we should be the leaders of the black community without actually taking responsibility for negative things that happen within the black community. We offer that it is everyone else's fault that things don't work but ours. It's society not respecting the black man. It's the black woman not respecting the black man. It's the feminization of the black man. It's the masculinization of the black woman. It is the black woman choosing the wrong black man. It's the LGBTQ plus community trying to indoctrinate the black man. Everybody else's fault but ours. And if anyone steps outside the pocket to remind us in any way, shape, or form that we might be able to do better, then they're bashing black men. And don't get me wrong, things are hard for us as black men, but that doesn't give us the right to pretend like things aren't hard for other people, like we don't make things hard for other people. That's what white people do.
Because we're part of a community where we know deep down no one's happy for you. That's why you have people say, oh, you know, you got evil eye and winch minds and bad belly people. We should not feel this way with our brothers and sisters. But we have been pushed to a point where we don't even feel comfortable telling people, yo, I got a new business. I got a baby on the way. I've bought a new house. I got a new car. I just got a new job. Or I'm about to go for an interview for a new job because we're so scared.
I am interrupting your evening to give a gentle reminder that my dad had to tell me that literally just bursted my whole bubble, but got me all the way together. There are people who aren't necessarily like as creative and innovative as you, which is no knock to them, but there's just certain capacities that people operate on. And he told me that those people are lurking to find their next idea. And if you are not mindful of who you tell your ideas to, you will be the source of their next idea, period, point blank. So I'm actually going to need you to vote up any ideas you have. Sadly, they'll be up for grabs.
Us black folks, we done stole and robbed ourselves out of a resource that even the elderly people of this community will not even be able to have access to. I'm ashamed and I'm saddened because black folks, we are so quick to always say, well, this person is not doing this and the white man this and the white man that. We blame everybody else for our shit. But then when we are tapped out of resources in our own community, we don't ever want to look at ourselves and point the finger back at ourselves and say, okay, I think maybe we fucked up. Maybe we shouldn't have been going in there stealing TVs and going in there stealing electronics and all this other shit. Because one thing about these white folks and these major corporations, they're all about money. So they don't care nothing about making sure we have resources in our neighborhoods. And this is how they gentrify our neighborhoods. Because when you're taking and you're stealing and you're burning down and destructing your own community, this gives them the opportunity to come into our communities and take the shit.
Most rich people here. There's wealthy there and there's rich here. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, experiencing that and seeing that, and then just the style, the swag, everything has been stolen from there.
Come on, talk
You know what I'm saying? So I think everybody just needs to know that they need to go home, and even just the air, that the air is crisp. You can breathe. Like when you breathe in America, bro, it's like you breathing in problems, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God,
like yes, anxiety. When you leave,
boy.
Oh man, Africa, bro, all that anxiety is out.
New drip, same shit. New drip. Yo, this is why it's so important that we have constant ownership over everything we do, whether it is the language that we speak or the moves that we make. And I'm talking about whether it's like dance move that you put in on TikTok or whatever else. Because Sprite is a major corporation, right? And when you hear new drip, new drip, bro. You notice that a lot of the language that corporations use in terms of advertising comes directly from black culture. Why? Because they go ahead and extract that, and then they go ahead and take the coolness of that, and they go ahead and rebrand it to put it on their brand, taking directly from us without us getting any level of money, royalty, or compensation for this, right? So I want you guys to be mindful that when you guys are creating stuff, no matter at what level, whether it's just you talking amongst your homies or whether you're having some dance moves, think about constant level of ownership, branding, to make sure that companies like a Sprite, companies like a Gucci or a Nike or any of these companies that really look to pull from black culture to go ahead and make their brands hot, popular, attractive to the larger overall international consumer market is directly taken from us. Have ownership of everything you do. It doesn't matter how little it is. Think about the level of branding that you can do with them.
Black people, I owe y'all an apology. As much yelling and screaming as I be doing, this was a misstep for me. I tried to get this community on one accord, on one goal. I tried to structure these conversations, but this was a misstep for me. This was a mistake. I was excited about a supposed black app, only to find that the individuals on the app and running the app ain't nothing more but Oreos trying to make a profit. Ain't nothing more but modern day slaves trying to justify further integration into a system that don't care about this community. Individuals that do not even think about black liberation or black independence. These are individuals that are trying to gain power alongside the enemy, and they're trying to use you to do it. Again, I owe y'all an apology. See, I do my best to listen more than I speak. Anybody that has had a conversation with me, you know. I sit back and I listen to individuals say everything but promote black independence. I listen to individuals talk about why it's a great idea to keep standing next to the European reject. I sit and listen to individuals downplay black independence. I sit back and I listen to individuals that are willing to bend over backwards, and I mean bend over, to gain the smallest percentage in power next to the European reject, while not even thinking or acknowledging the power that these individuals, that we could all have by just betting on each other. I sit back and I watch individuals, I listen to individuals not even have hope for black liberation or black independence. It's not even a thought to them. I'm going to be honest with y'all, I'm a little lost for words. I'm disappointed. I'm angry. I'm saddened. And I'm not sure what the right step is to take from here. Because I'm getting real sick and tired of sellouts with friendly masks on, trying to present themselves as for the community, but all they thinking about is making a profit. I'm going to say it again. I apologize to all the real black people that trust my word. This was a mistake. What I'm trying to figure out is, how do we move forward as a community when all we do is obsess over standing next to a European reject? When all we do is participate in games, gang member, gang politics, gangs, political games that are comfortable with receiving our vote for free. How do we move forward? What are we supposed to do? I wish I was rich. I wish I had the power to do something, but I'm at a loss for words because I'm just a regular individual like everybody else, trying to figure out how I can become an influential person in this community so we can get on the right track and stop being used by Oreos and sellouts and corporations and government entities and politicians. And how do we get out from under this? I don't have a witty ending. Any advice y'all have will be appreciated. Again, I apologize and I'm sorry.
It comes to big ideas. Listen, we have a God that is a creator. He's the ultimate creator, right? So, and the Bible says something in the extent of he will do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ever imagine or think. So think about your ideas. Just know that they're microscopic in comparison to what God thinks, in comparison to what God can do. They're very, very small. So I know they feel very, very big, but remember, there's a God that's very, very big that is with you. And so if he gave you those ideas, trust and believe that he will help you steward those ideas by giving you the grace needed and sufficient enough for you to steward those ideas. I think you need to ask him, God, give me wisdom. Give me strategy. Give me insight to how to steward this big idea that you've given me. And he promises, I will supply your needs. According to his riches and glory, he will supply the needs. He'll do it. Take it one step at a time. All you have to do is be obedient. With every act of obedience, you get closer and closer. Take your time. The Bible says, write the vision out, make it plain. Write it down. Write it out. All of it.
Listen to me very carefully. Do not let anybody get in the way of your fucking creative bag. And I'm telling you right now, there's more than one way that someone can mess with your bag. It's not always your fancy financial scams. It's lack of communication. It's doubts about your ability masked as questions. Sometimes it's your own damn kindness. If anything that someone says or does to you or near you brings you an ounce of doubt about what you're doing, drop it. Now, I had to learn this lesson the hard way. I'm very kind and I'm very patient, but that's only while supplies last. And those who think kindness is weakness have another thing coming to them. So keep that in mind while you're honing your own craft. That's your baby. Nobody else is going to take care of it better than you. You know how much effort it takes to put your creative project out in the world, and you know it takes even less for someone to bring it down. So don't allow it. Why? Because we need your creation out in the world. So if you found yourself in this situation, take the L and move on. The L is for lesson learned here. Don't let that situation make you forget who the hell you are. A bad bitch.
Just like white people are taught racism, black people are taught self-hate. They are taught to fight against themselves and to fight against people who look like them. In this system, these many systems that are built, black people are just starting to gain a means of finding balance. We are allowed now a lot of things that our ancestors and people before us were denied. So as there are a lot of people that are healing and doing their generational work and figuring out those triggers, there are some people who are still bound to their triggers. They submit to their triggers. And these traditions, that is actually generational trauma, passed down as normalcy. If you know anything about the Jim Crow etiquette, and even when it comes to integration and assimilation, we were to blend in, to not really make noise, to not upset anybody or make them uncomfortable, with the threat of our lives possibly being taken. And in that and all the things we do, because of that, it gets passed down.
If you're talking to somebody about your art and inspiration and they are having trouble seeing outside their own perspective and that you need to be inspired by things that are only popular, don't talk to them anymore about your art. How could you like this, but you've never done this, you've never seen this? Because my brain works the way that it works. What about it? Imagine your art, your idea, a beautiful, vulnerable baby being stepped on by an adult's perspective on how the world should work. And luckily, I'm a strong-willed and confident bitch with a perception for projection and judgment. So I snatch that baby back up and be like, listen, we don't have to talk about it anymore. It's clear you don't get it. You don't see my vision.
Anti-blackness is prevalent on this app, and it's by other black people towards black people. If you're a black person on this app who happens to disagree with a popular opinion, the comments actually become anti-blackness. There's a difference between disagreeing and disrespect. And I want to say this because in these social media streets, the keyboard gangsters are signs of, number one, sociopaths, and also a sign of what is happening to our collective humanity if we continue to let the comments be a space of war. Now, granted, listen, you come for me, I'll come back. I'll swipe back a few times because, I'm a Pisces and I'm sensitive about my shit. I said it and I'm proud of that. But my sensitivity also allows me to see that there's something happening in comments and anti-blackness on TikTok that's destructive. Pay attention.
I'm not in the ballroom scene, but I feel like, especially in the last 10, 15 years, voguing has now become like synonymous with just queer culture generally internationally. And a part of me doesn't really sit with my spirit, because this is a practice that comes from a specific context in which young black and brown, doesn't have to be young, but black and brown people from New York or America danced in this way. And now, like, I feel like I'm just like, you go outside and people are being weird with their hands, and I'm like, babes, this isn't your culture. Like, I don't care if you are gay, like, this culture doesn't belong to you. And it kind of reminds me of how, like, everybody on TikTok has suddenly just started using, like, African American vernacular. And suddenly, like, everybody in my waking life, non-black, is using African American vernacular. Like, listen, even I don't. It's just I'm from the UK. Why would I? But like, damn, people will never give black people their flowers. Black Americans their flowers specifically. It must just be terrible to see everyone just outwardly stealing. Before, people would double take if you were using certain kinds of words, but now it's just like African American culture just out here with no recognition that this is what this is. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, because I feel like people aren't really aware of what they're doing. And it's the same with, like, I guess, the popularity of just like black artists generally. Like, if you're not black, even if you're not from America, like, there's sometimes a context that's missing from the culture that we are engaging with. And I was listening to a Frank Ocean song, that Nike song, and I was like, oh my god, he's talking about Trayvon Martin. And I'm like, if you're not tapped into the, what's going on the news, what's going on in black culture, like, you are missing out on context. And now there's just a lot of, like, cultural discussion, like, on an international scale, not even discussion, it's just out there for everybody, and there's no context. And I mean, I'm not trying to go back in time to 2014 where like, everybody was doing the cancellations, but I just wish there was an interesting, open way of discussing what's going on, because it was different 10 years ago, but now it's on another level. Like, I wish there was like a separate app for black people that was owned by black people, like culturally or communally owned, where people could just do their own thing without people stealing your ideas, your swag.
Today, this is a rant. I am so tired. I'm so exhausted. I'm tired of white people loving black culture, loving black music, loving everything black style, black hair. I'm tired of people loving all that stuff, but disliking black people. Like, that shit genuinely gets on my nerves, and it, like, no, more than it gets on my nerves, it, like, actually infuriates me, because I'm like, how are you gonna sit here, post on your story time after time after time these songs and these artists that you like? How are you gonna wear this clothes, but then not even like black people? Like, what is that actual deal? Like, it's more than it's just a preference. No, it's like genuinely racism. Like, what does the color of my skin have anything to do with the content of my character? Please make that.
Is it just me, or do y'all notice how people do not see Black American culture as like a valid culture? Like, because every time I talk about something that's like a Black American thing, people are like, oh, what does this have to do about race? What does this have to do about race? Da, da, da. Every single time, literally every single time, they always bring that up. Like, oh my God, it's almost like Black people in America don't have a culture. Like, it's so crazy, because I feel like if I was another ethnicity and I was like, oh, like, this is what such and such do, people would be like, oh my God, nah, nah, nah. But it's like, since I'm like African American or Black American, whatever, people just act like what we do, it's like, oh, what does race have to do with it, and da 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 da, just because I'm American? No. Race got everything to do with it. Like, that's just so dumb to me. Like, it's like,
hey guys, don't allow anyone to feed off your creativity. You want to think of your creativity as your intellectual property, and that includes any creative ideas or anything else attached to you. It's okay for people to be inspired by you in order to get whatever they're trying to pursue off the ground, but you don't want anyone around you who is trying to piggyback off of you as far as use your ideas or anything else attached to you to gain off of, to where, you know, they're just trying to profit off of what you're doing. And it's not like, you know, they're crediting you for what they get off the ground, or even trying to you know, allow you to also reap the rewards of what they, you know, gained off of what they used from you. So that's why, you know, it's very important that you protect anything that you create and put safeguards in place as far as copywriting or registering, trademarking, or whatever else you have to do to protect your intellectual property. That way, if you see anyone illegally, you know, using things that's yours, you are able to take the necessary precautions, because, you know, if this is something that you take seriously, you have to take it seriously across the board, and that means having legal things in place to protect you, especially if you've put in a lot of work in your craft and you've made a name for yourself and you've established a business. You know, you don't want, you know, anyone not abiding by what you have in place and just trying to use what you've created for their own benefit. And that can, you know, even include people close to you, you know, who try to really take your ideas and, you know, run with it. That's why, you know, you want to be sure that you be careful about what you share with other people, especially if you know that you have something planned for that idea that you're telling other people. So, you know, just make sure that you are really safeguarding yourself and your creative projects, so that in case you have to take any type of action towards someone who is who is illegally using what you created, you have something in place to safeguard you and your work.
Okay, so let's unpack this whole thing here. We only got a little bit of time, and you guys know I'll continue this conversation on my morning show, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 9 a.m. Okay, so the understanding of it all is everybody wants to learn from a lesson, but nobody wants to be the lesson everybody learns from. And let me break it down. We're going to learn that the value that we have is within ourselves. If we give our value out and sell ourselves short to people that don't even look at us for value and they just take, then it doesn't matter if you think that your brother or your sister is making this point because they stole from this person. No, it's a cutoff point for them too. And once you realize that, you start to realize and you feel bad for those people because they're the people that they hurt their own people just to try to do this, get where they have to go. So what I want you guys to know that there is power in your creativity, there's power in your ideas. You just have to know how to do it. You have to know how to put it out there, what to put out there, how to profit and monetize what you know and what you have up here. It doesn't matter who's the best basketball player. Be the person that invented the ball, and you wouldn't have to worry about who comes around better and the best of this and that because you own the game. You got to know how to use this up here. Becoming sharper and wiser at the things you do. It takes time, and I want to take you guys through this journey and how I think and how I got to this point. So when people hear about this whole unbothered, you hear that thing going around. The true meaning behind that is it's not being unbothered and not knowing what's going on. Having understanding and knowing where to take things and knowing what's to come next is very important in these times we have to come. A lot of people are going to try to deceive you, and they're going to deceive you with your own kind just because that person doesn't know value within themselves when they're getting deceived by the person that's going to take the full ownership. Pay attention to what's going on. I'm putting you guys up on game. I don't always have to do it, so drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. I got a lot more to go, and I want everybody to know it's not just a black and white thing. It's all about levels of your experiences and your information. If people are trying to sell you information or trying to fool you with information, it's just because if you had that information, you could probably take your dreams to that. So stay away from those people that they confuse themselves and they try to put a business sense on top of the deceiving they do to their own people, and just realize that we are going to be the only ones to save us. Stop pointing the finger, because there's mistakes that we have to clear up before we can go outside and create a value that's profitable. Until next time, it's your boy Mickey Fenty, aka Mickey Made It. If you're new to this channel, you know what to do to this channel. Subscribe, like,